Hello everyone, Pastor Annie here. It's Homesteading Tuesday. Today we're going to get into some nitty gritty. Last week I did 20 ways to be frugal. I think I might have missed one though. I was looking over my notes. I think I missed the one to get off your TV and the computer and read a book. That's more, you should be doing it anyways. Like feed ourselves some good stuff, read some homesteading stuff. But anyways, so I did that. This week, I'm going to go through some things like, why do we do this? What's going on in the world? These whole price increase things, and why is all this happening? Like, why is there such a shrinkflation, and why is there such a inflation? So I have a list of some items here, and a lot of it goes back to meat is up 50%. 50%. The last few years, which these reflect a lot of the other prices. Also, some weather-related issues, some tariffs, some other like the diesel fuel. So this is all like right now we're in like this perfect storm for price inflation and shrinkflation. So let's go into this a little bit. Let's see what some things are going on. Just in case you didn't know, sweet potatoes are up 60%. Or wait, no, they're not. They're up in price, but they may be going up a little bit more. So 60% of the sweet potatoes, almost said this backwards. I can't do this again. Yeah, hi Toby. See Toby in the background. 60% of them come out of North Carolina. And there was a huge drought. Then they had 2 hurricanes. And now the tariff on the tin steel, which is also going to affect all these other things that I'm going to go through, is like increasing sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes. Who would have thought? And they're so good for you. 90%. They have 90% calories. They're high in fiber and vitamin A. Yummy. I love sweet potatoes. I don't know about the rest of you, but they are delicious. They're one of my favorites. Now these are canned sweet potatoes. We're probably going to see the effects of fresh ones also. If you see them at the farmer's market, you might want to pick some up. Here's another doozy. Pumpkin puree. Hello. There was people at the church last year that could not find pumpkin puree for their Christmas cookies or their other things. I was so blessed. And I actually blessed them, and I gave them the hookup. But we had the pumpkins we got for decorations. Plus there's a few that grew in the garden, mine and someone else's, we combined. And we actually took the pumpkins, we cooked them down, and we made pumpkin puree. I made all my pumpkin stuff last year out of this pumpkin puree. I'm going to tell you, this was amazing. I highly suggest pumpkin puree. If you get pumpkins for the season, because I love decorating with pumpkins. I just love pumpkins. I love apples. I love all that like fall stuff. Anyhow, when you decorate with it, I don't carve pumpkins because of spiritual reasons, but anyhow, if you keep those pumpkins that you just use for decorations, you can actually cut them up and cook them and make a puree. Maybe I'll go into that when the season comes and I have some pumpkins. But until then, just remember, keep your pumpkins, don't carve them. They're good, they're food. So they serve 2 purposes: decorations, which they last for a very long time. They really do. And that's why I like pumpkins, because I can like take my time processing them. I use them for decoration, and I can take my time cooking them and baking them and pureeing them. And but anyways, let's go into this whole, I'm going off track. I'm sorry. Had a Dory moment. I'll get back on. But pumpkin spray, there's only one company that produces these in the U.S. One company in the U.S. produces 80%. There's others, but we might as well just say there's mainly one company, okay? They produce Libby's, they do all the other, like Great Value and all that, the things, but they are marketed out of Morton, Illinois. And they're all family-owned farms, and they're about a 45-mile radius within Morton, Illinois. And guess what? They have a shortage too because of the same storms that hit North Carolina. Storms. The same reason. Storms. And there's a shortage. they're not going to be caught up this year. The shortage was last year, but it takes like 2 to 3 years to catch a lot of this stuff up, and it's not fully all the way stocked up. So you may have a hard time finding some pumpkin again this year. Just an FYI. Try fresh pumpkin. Delicious. It was so fluffy. It was so delicious. There's no going back at this point. There's some things after you learn that you do it fresh, you're just like, yeah, I can't buy store-bought anymore. Pumpkin is one in my books for that one. Might not be yours, but it is for me. Chickpeas. They're up 40 cents this year. There was a 50 to 75% increase the last 2 years on all lentils and peas. Crazy. This was the highest increase this year since 2013. Just think what next year brings. When they started in 2013 is when they actually started tracking this. So we have no information before that. But there was a low production and an increase in supply and demand due to ground meat playing a huge role in this, because the meat costs $7 a pound, which then more people are substituting beans for meat or adding it into it to have it go longer. They did plant a 12% increase this year, but this takes up to 3 years to catch up again. They also increased corn and wheat this year because there is a shortage on wheat, but we'll get to that later. Campbell's Soups. Campbell's Soups is another one that is to note for an increase. Their tomato soup, which I'm happy and thankful. I didn't know this, and I just actually bought some. I was actually, for some reason, every once in a while, I want tomato soup, and the other day was the day that I wanted some tomato soup. I don't eat it often, so when I eat it, it's like a luxury. It's like I went to a high-end restaurant and I had me some grilled cheese and tomato soup, because that's how frequently we eat it. That it is a luxury in this house, because those are things we don't eat a lot of. But tomato soups is actually increasing, and it's also under shrinkflation. So some of the cans now that used to be 10.7 ounces or 10.5 or 8 ounces, they're experiencing shrinkflation. Check the unit price on them compared to the old unit price if you pay attention. And they also had a tariff increase of 9 to 15%, in addition to a tomato shortage. Yes, there's a tomato shortage. So what happened is in Florida, and this is another increase, tomatoes are increasing, canned and fresh tomatoes. Some of them are $2 for fresh tomatoes. Crazy. I never in my life thought a tomato would be $2, especially since it's not like my top choice of things to eat. I know some people love them. Me, it's not a top choice. I use them to cook with, but I don't just eat a tomato like some people. But there is a shortage. Florida lost 80%. 80% of their crop due to a winter freeze. Yes, and a lot of our tomatoes come out of Florida. Another top place they come out of is Mexico, is number 2. And it has a 17% of our tomatoes come out of there. And there is a tariff where we get tomatoes there's a 17% tariff increase, but the tomatoes that we get from Mexico are the ones that we have for winter and spring. So we don't get a lot, but they get us through the winter and spring. Summer, most of them come from Florida. And then number 2 is California. California does a fourth of our tomatoes. And the crop there are having problems because they have a water access restriction in California, if you were unaware of this. They are not the only one. Idaho is another one that is having some drought and issues. Potatoes come out of there. There's some other things that come out of Idaho. Idaho is another one having huge water problems and restrictions. And so, but there wasn't just water increase. There was also a labor cost increase. Minimum wage goes up, things go up, labor increase. And there's an increase in fuel. So isn't this interesting? Another interesting fact is 70% of the tomatoes are imported, and 90% of that 70% come from Mexico. Now remember, most of this is from fall to spring. Summer, most of them come from the US, but 70% do come outside of the United States, which makes me not want to eat a tomato even more, unless I have it from a garden or farmer's market, but that's a whole other conversation. So canned mackerel is up in price because due to the increase in demand, because tuna is too pricey for a lot of people to buy that used to buy it. There's such an increase that they went to the next thing closest, which is mackerel. And this demand is an increase of 6.55%. There's also a tariff increase on Japan, Norway, and South Korea, plus that, and they also reduced a quota in Peru on fish oil and fish meal. So this here is like a perfect storm. Not to mention that straightaway is also closed. And mackerel has 230 calories. It's 21 grams of protein and 2.2 grams of omega-3. So it's very important. It's very healthy. And here we are. Lots of people who work out in that use mackerel. Guess what? Increase. It's going to go up even more. Coconut milk. Who uses it? Me. We got rid of dairy, so I have coconut milk. One reason why I have it is because we don't really drink milk anymore. It's in a can. I can just pull it out when I make soups or something. So I always have milk since we don't really purchase milk anymore, which is also increased dramatically. But coconut milk is 70% of it comes from Thailand. 40% comes from the Philippines, and Sri Lanka. And there's an increase on tariffs there, 10 to 30%. Plus a freight increase. Like most of these, if you notice, there's not just one contributing factor. A lot of it is the tariffs, and then there's other contributing factors, which this is what I mean, a perfect storm. So freight costs also increased due to shipping route conflict. Also, aluminum cans and the tariffs on the aluminum cans. Coconut milk lasts 2 to 5 years. It's healthier. It's a better option than milk. It also is something that if you don't drink milk, you don't have to buy a whole thing, worry about it going bad. And it is also consists of 445 calories. My choice. It is increased and probably going up. Sardines. I don't eat sardines. I will say I have some, but I was making the dog's food at one point, homemade, and I tried using sardines, and Toby does not like sardines. He would not eat them. So I do have some sardines, but as of February 1st, 2026, this is an important date, Morocco did a complete export banning frozen sardines. The reason is the collapse on domestic sardines harvest due to critical stockpile collapse, overfishing, and environmental factors. 40% decline in exports in the last 2 years. Sardines. Thank God I don't eat them, but those of you who do, you might want to grab some today, because around August they say that's when it's going to hit, because of that's when August is the time when we have stockpile for stuff in the factories and things that came in from the ships, that we kind of reset and all the old go and the new come. All right. Canned chicken. A lot of it's fake anyways, but canned chicken is very high in protein. And we have 40 million less birds due to the bird flu, and 40 companies that are affected from it. Corn prices are also another thing that affects it. 30% increase on corn. Steel tariff also is affecting it. So when you buy this, watch out. Make sure you check the weight on them and the drain weight, because a lot of them are increasing the water so that you think you're still getting the same amount of chicken, but you're really not. It's all water. So make sure you check the drain weight, the weight after you drain the water. Okay, let's go to the next one. Corned beef. Pastor Rick loves corned beef. Actually, we're eating corned beef for dinner. Shh, don't tell him. Corned beef is increased due to the low cattle. We all have been hearing about the cattle, and that's why the meat is so up. Who would have thought corned beef is also affected? I didn't even know this, and I purchased this. I got some corned beef the other day for Pastor Rick because I saw it, and I just picked it up without knowing this, but now I'm like, okay, I'm glad I did, because he does enjoy it. But the U.S. and Mexico border closed livestock imports July of 2025 due to a parasite fly. Now they're like making these other flies that are supposed to take out the other ones. They say it's going to take a few years to get the other flies out of here to bring the cattle back in or something. It's all hogwash. And these flies are supposed to be coming up the coast, which they affect the cattle, and this is like a bunch of parasite issues. And U.S. is one of the only places that do not do regular parasite cleansings. Look into that one. Go down that rabbit trail if you want. But U.S. imports, the U.S. imported 1.24 million head of cattle from Mexico in 2024. 1.24 million. That was not imported in 2025. And it was not imported in 2026. So this, plus the beef price as well, lowest cattle herds plus the lowest cattle herds since 1961, Tyson recorded a 319 million operating cost lost in one quarter, the first quarter. They also closed one of their beef production plants, and 3 other companies also closed some of their plants, not all of them, but some of their plants in the U.S. as well. Tuna. Thailand is the largest import. They have put catch limits and supply constraints. Prices are already up, and they're predicted to increase another 5.7, or they increase 5.7% yearly, and they're going to exceed that this year as predicted, as is what the prediction is. So every year they increase 5.7% above the fruit prices, the canned fruit, every year. And it's to be even higher than the 5.7% this year, which is, looking at the prices, I didn't do the math, but they probably exceeded it already. Ocean temperatures are also affecting some of the salmon. Here we go. This is all like, I'm telling you, it's just, okay, Progressive. They got 40 soup varieties in 2020. And due to all this stuff and the tariffs on the cans and all the shortages in tomatoes and things like that, they are predicted to do the same complexity again. Beet production. I'm gonna try to go through some of these. Beet production shrank this year. Shrank a third, I believe. Olive oil, 95% is imported. Spain, we import 70% from Spain. And they already sold in 7 months, most of it comes from Maine. It comes from other ones too. Why do I keep doing these backwards? I'm sorry. I was doing this last night at women's. I'm going to stop flip-flopping upside down backwards. But anyways, 95% of our olive oil is imported. Spain is one of them. Spain said that 70%, they already sold 70% of their production for this year in 7 months. This was in May. There was a flour fructose is down due to weather and shipping disturbances of the Strait of Hormuz, plus fuel costs up to 50%. And Walmart cut their ordering by a third due to all these problems in the price increase. So that Strait of Hormuz is affecting some of these other ones also. So this is like, I'm telling you, like there's a bunch of stuff happening here. It's not just one thing, and it's not just tariffs, and there's a lot going on here. Example, coffee, Brazil. Half of their production got wiped out due to a drought. And a fourth of ours comes from Vietnam, which is also having issues because of the Strait of Hormuz and some other things over there. Cocoa prices up 58%. Are up 58% up 58%. Sugar is up 7%, which a lot of things that have cocoa also have sugar. So there's a double increase on these products, candy, cakes, things like that. There's a 7% increase already on sugar, and there's a prediction of another 6.7% increase this year due to El Nino. Chocolate chips went up $1 this year. $1. That's crazy. Just think of them going up even more. Fresh veggies are up 11.9% and are estimated to increase another 7.7%. And this is not to even mention the romaine shortage. Plus the canned veggie increase is up 50% because there's a 50% tariff increase on the canned veggies. Wheat, as of July 10th, was the smallest since 1970. Smallest harvest. There was some things that happened with the wheat that took out the wheat. And it's down 29% from last year. The price increase in August, there's this report coming out. And this isn't even the tariffs. This is just like a report of the wheats and things like that. In August 12th, I believe, it's going to come out. This is really important because what's going to happen here is if we don't have that much meat or whatever's being produced, they're going to be able to gauge it in August. This is another reason why the prices get affected in August. So all these things that are going to be affected, that if there's not that much wheat or that much corn, which right now there's not, it's going to affect everything else and the prices are going to go up. So this report is very, very, very important. That comes out August 12th. I may get into that later. I'm still looking into it. But this data can change everything dramatically depending on the food production and everything, what has been affected by these storms and what hasn't, what's been produced, what isn't produced. So this is very important. We got to watch this report for August 12th. This is when the supply and the demand estimates will be released for the first fruit estimate for corn and soybeans. Wheat and grain are very important to purchase before August 12th. Because according to this data, the prices can change dramatically. That's like your pastas, your flours, your soybeans. Those things may increase dramatically depending on this report. Hey, if you get them now and they only increase a little bit, you save some money. If not, you still have it because everything just keeps going up. When you're at a store, pick up a couple boxes of pasta. Pick up some flour. Get all your baking stuff for this Christmas. Purchase it now before August 12th. Because you don't know what the prices are going to be then. And And you don't want to have to say, I'm not making cookies this year because of this price increase. Buy it now so you can still make your cookies. So there's all these contributing factors. There's all these damaging crops. The beef prices are the highest in 10 years. We got shrinkflation going. With me saying this is why we homestead. This is why we learn to garden. This is why why I do these videos on Tuesdays. This is why I show you 20 ways to be frugal. And frugal is different than being cheap. Frugal is being responsible with what God gave you. Cheap and poverty mentality are totally different. So there's different categories. Frugal is being responsible. It's being a good sport. Remember that. This is why we do what we do. This is why we plant a garden. This is why we have herbs growing in the house all year. If you don't, grow some of your favorite herbs. Start there. If you have not started a garden, you can still put some things down. Beans. Beans is something you can still plant this time of the year. Beets. Garlic goes down in the fall. You still have time for that. You're not going to purchase it yet. It goes down in the fall. Tomatoes, sorry, you're out. You don't want to plant them now. Cabbage. You can plant all your cabbage family now, your brassicas. You can get them started in the house, transfer them inside. These are things you still have time to plant. Take advantage of it. Plant them. Get some things in your house planted. I'm going to tell you this much. I started planting herbs in the house a couple years ago, and I absolutely love it. I plant some in the garden because they are good. Some of them are good pollinators, but it helps with your pest control. It also helps keep certain animals away. Most of them don't like thyme, but for some reason, I still got deer going in my garden and other things. A whole other story, but I like planting this stuff in the house. I'm going to tell you why. Because if I'm cooking, I don't want to go all the way down to the garden to get this stuff. So I have some stuff in the house. That way, if I do my harvest in the morning and I pick everything and I want something, I can just pick it right there in the house. That's one reason. Another reason, I have fresh herbs all winter. Once you start adding fresh herbs to your potatoes, your eggs, your soups, your meats, your pasta, your spaghetti sauces, you don't want to buy that store-bought stuff anymore. The flavor is times 10, which means you can use less because the flavor is just phenomenal. So plant some herbs inside. Let's get this going. If you have not started gardening, I highly recommend you start doing it with what's going on. With all these shortages, don't depend on the grocery store and everything else. We can see this all breaking down right now. There's a perfect storm going on. Start growing some stuff yourself. Not only are you not being dependent, it's healthier, it's better, it has less chemicals. You're saving money because seeds cost less. And once you get to a certain point, you can learn how to keep the seeds from the stuff you're growing, and then you don't have to buy seeds after you purchase them once or twice. So this is all, see the benefits of this. You're going to save some money. Big time. You're going to have fresher herbs, more nutrients. You won't be dependent on the grocery store. This is a win-win. So start with some herbs if you've never done anything. Start planting a garden. Garlic is not that hard in the fall. Start doing some things, and I take enough of your time. Start doing something. Let's take action and start stocking up. And I will talk to you all later. Love you. I hope this helps you. I'll talk to you next week.